Hello friends, welcome to my another lecture on divide and conquer sorting algorithms. This particular video lecture is a part of my two different lecture series. One is study of different complexity of sorting algorithms, and second one is the computer algorithms. So uh, this comes under computer algorithms also, as well as it comes under know the sorting algorithms also. So here in this particular lecture we are going to discuss about two sorting techniques. One is called as merge sort and another is called as quick sort. These two sorting techniques are called as DC based sorting algorithms. So DC based sorting algorithm means divide and conquer sorting algorithms. I am Ram Godavi Patil, and I am the course instructor for this one. So with this, dear friends, let us move ahead and let us first try to understand about what is divide and conquer. In this particular video, we'll try to understand what do we mean by divide and conquer, and how does the merge sort works. We will discuss about how does the quick sort works. We will discuss both the algorithms. We will discuss their time complexity. We will discuss their space complexity. We will also discuss what are the different inputs which can be best case for this, and what are the different inputs which can be worst case for this. We will discuss all these points about these two algorithms. At the end, we will compare these two algorithms for time and space complexity. Let us move ahead. So let us first try to discuss about what is divide and conquer. So friends, divide and conquer is an algorithm design methodology wherein for a given problem, if you want to solve this particular given problem, what do we do is, if this complete problem cannot be solved easily, we divide this problem into smaller parts. And we try to solve these smaller sub problems. Now one problem is divided into 4 sub problems in this case. So these are the 4 sub problems. Further, you can solve this particular sub problem separately, first sub problem separately. Let us say this is problem P1. We can solve second problem separately, sub problem. We can solve third sub problem separately, and we can solve fourth sub problem separately, and we can combine the results of these 4 sub problems. Further, if necessary, we can again divide this problem P1 into multiple sub problems. So that can be P11, P12, let us say P13, and again we can solve these sub problems separately, combine the results to get the solution of problem P1. And similarly for these 3 sub problems also, if needed, we can divide them. We can go on dividing them for n number of times until we get that the problem is solvable, and then whatever the solvable problems will be there, they will be solved and they will be combined together to get the solution of the these 4 sub problems, let us say in this case. So finally what we do is we combine the solution of these 4 sub problems to get the solution of the complete problem. So this is the divide and conquer methodology, wherein the given problem is first divided into smaller sub problems. These smaller sub problems are solved. They can be directly solved, or they can be further divided into smaller sub problems until they are solvable easily. And once we get the solution to the sub problems, we go on combining the results, and finally we combine all the sub problems to get the result of the given problem. So this is the methodology that is used for divide and conquer. There are many algorithms that can be solved by these divide and conquer, and this is a very powerful tool of algorithm design. The algorithm that are divide and conquer algorithms are binary search, merge sort, then there is another algorithm called as quick sort. So there are 2 sorting algorithms which comes under this category of divide and conquer sorting techniques. Then we have DC max-min, so finding out the maximum and minimum of a given array by using divide and conquer methodology. We have convex hull. We have another algorithm is called as selection algorithm. This is not selection sort, but it is selection algorithm wherein we are interested in finding out kth smallest element. So as we find smallest element, instead of that I want to find out kth smallest element. Then we have Strand's matrix multiplication, and many more. There are many of the problems which can which can be solved, and we have different algorithms for that. So let us move ahead, and let us try to know more about the merge sort. Let us move to the sorting technique merge sort. So in merge sort, what do we do is, what is the problem definition is, we have given n elements, we have given an array of size n, okay, and the array could be sorted or it could not be sorted, I don't know. Means the array is in the sorted format or non-sorted format. So this array has let us say n indices, in this case 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So there are 9 indices, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, there are 9 indices in this particular array. So what happens here is, in merge sort what we want to do is, given an array and we want to sort this array in the ascending order, or it could be in descending order. Okay, now in this particular case we are going to study about ascending order. I want to sort it in ascending order. Whatever is the array given, I want to sort it in the ascending order. So what I do is, whatever the array is given, in order to sort this particular array, what I do is I divide this particular array into two parts, two nearly equal parts. So in case of 9 elements, there will be 4 and 5. So nearly equal parts means there will be difference of 1 unit in both the cases. So what happens is, the first part is the elements from 1 to 4, and the second part is the elements from 5 to 9. Further, I cannot, so I feel that sorting a array of size 4 is not also possible. So what I do is, again I divide into two sub problems. So the two sub problems now becomes 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. In this case it becomes 5 to 7, 5 to 6, let us say, and 7 to 9. Then 1 to 2, I feel that 2 elements. Now 1 to 2 means there are 2 elements in my array. 3 to 4 means in this case 2 elements. 5 to 6 in this case 2 elements, and 7 to 9 in this case 3 elements. So 1 2 3, here 2, here 2. So it is something like this. Now what you can do is, or you can either proceed further. You can go on dividing into elements with single elements. So 2 2, 1 1, 2 2, 3 3, 4 4, then 5 5, 6 6. So 6 to 5 5 means the array starts from 5 and ends at 5. That is, lower index is 5, higher index is 5. 7 9 will be 7 7 and 8 9, and 8 9 can be further divided into 8 8 and 9 9. Now an array array consisting of single element is always sorted. We know that it is always sorted. So that means that what I am getting is, I am getting 1 1 and 2 2, two sorted array, and I know that now these two are sorted. Now I will merge two sorted arrays. So whichever will be the smaller among these two elements will come at the lower index, whichever is the larger will come at the higher index, and I get a sorted array of size 2. Similarly here I combine these two, and lower element to putting the lower elements towards the left hand side and putting the larger element towards the right hand side, I will get a sorted array of size 2. Here the array could be sorted or unsorted, but here now it is sorted. Similarly for 5 and 6, I can combine these two and I can get a sorted array 5 and 6. So the 5 and 6 are not the elements, these are the indices. Okay, and the values of these two indices are now sorted. Similarly 8 9, so they can be sorted, and this 8 9 can be now combined with 7, so to get 7 8 9. Further 1 and 2 can be combined with 3 and 4 to get 1 2 3 4. Now these are the indices, so values here can be different. So smallest one among 1 and 3 will come at the first index. Smallest one among 1 and 4, let us say, if 3 is smallest in the first case, then 1 and 4 will come at the second index. If 1 is smaller, then smallest one among 2 and 4 will come at the third index, and remaining will come at the fourth index, and it continues till we combine all the elements. So this is the methodology that is used for merge sort. So let us try to discuss this one in detail. So let us move ahead and let us try to discuss about this sorting technique. So over here the same thing is shown, that an example is considered. If I have 10 elements from at the indices 1 to 10, so 179, 254, 285, 310, 351, 423, 450, 520, 652 and 861. These are already sorted. So but whenever the input array is given, in that case an array of size 10 will be divided into two halves. One is 5 and another is 5. So 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. Then 1 to 5 is divided into 1 to 3 and 4 to 5. Similarly 6 to 10 is divided into 6 to 8 and 9 to 10. Similarly here 1 to 3 is divided into 1 to 2, 3 to 3. Now here there is a single element and it is sorted. Here there is a single element, it is sorted. Here there is a single element, that is sorted. At all edge locations now there are single elements then, and they are already sorted. And what we have to do is we have to combine the results. We have to combine the results. We have to merge this. Hence this, I am going to merge these two sorted array to get another sorted array. Hence this is called as a merge sort. Then further these two will be merged to get a sorted array 1 to 3. Okay, and it continues for all. So let us try to elaborate this one in detail. So let us say these 10 elements are given: 310, 285, 179, 652, 351, 423, 861, 254, 450 and 520. So these are the 10 elements. So what do we do is, so there are indices. This is at the index number 1, this is at the index number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what I do is I calculate mid. Mid is equal to low plus high divided by 2. So that is, here in this case it becomes 1 plus 10. 1 plus 10 is 11, 11 by 2. 11 by 2 lower value, if the value is outcome value is fractional value, and then take the lower value of this, so it becomes 5. So first 5 elements, 1 to 5, this is 1 to 5 towards this side, and this is 6 to 10. So I call two merge sort instances: merge sort low mid, and merge sort mid plus 1 high, mid plus 1 and high. Okay, so this is mid plus 1 high. So this again the same. So I am discussing about the recursive version of merge sort. So merge sort is calling this one. Okay, then we have 310, 1 to 3, and this is 4 to 5. So 1 plus 5 divided by 2, 6, 6 by 2 is 3. So low to mid and mid plus 1 to high. So it goes on working in this way. So finally what we get is these are the instances which have single elements, and they are already sorted. We need not think about this. Now this is not sorted. This is already sorted. This is already sorted. Now we have to go on combining these two. So 310 and 285 will be sorted in the sense they will be merged in such a way that smaller elements will come towards the left hand side of the array and larger element will come towards the right hand side of the array. Then these two will be merged with this. So here 179 is smaller, so 179 will come here, then remaining elements will come 285 and 310. And for these two, so 423 will come and 861 will come, and we go on merging this. So the merging is shown over here. So 310, 285, so they are merged as 285 and 310, and these are merged as 179, 285 and 310. These two are merged as 351, 652. So 351 is taken in the lower index, 652 is taken in the higher index. Here there are two values, 423, 861. So 423, 861, and this is merged with 254. 254 comes at the lower index and others come at the higher index, and we continue this and we go on merging all these subarrays. So let us discuss about how does it works. So the merge sort is a divide and conquer algorithm, and herein in this particular algorithm I am discussing the recursive version. If you are good with iterative version, no problem, we can go with that. Only why I am discussing this recursive version of merge sort is because it is easy to analyze. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us try to discuss this algorithm merge sort low high. Low is the lower index of the array. Let us say if this is the array with 10 elements, so this is 1, 2 and so on up to 10 as in the last case. So low is 1 and 10 is high. Then if small p, so A is an array from low to high, is a global array to be sorted. Now A is not passed as a parameter here, so A is a global array sorted, and small p is true if there is only one element. If your array contains only one element, it means that the array is already sorted. In this case the list is already sorted. Okay, so if low is equal to high, low is less than high, let us see this one. If low is less than high, so lower index should be less than higher index. If it happens, then and then only we should go for sorting. And if lower index is not equal to higher index, we can go back and check what is happening here at the index level. At the index level, so see here at this level, here low index is 1 and high index is 1. Whenever low is equal to high, at that time there is only one value in the array. So in that case it is not needed to apply the sorting technique. So we have to divide the array into p subproblems whenever lower index is less than higher index. So if it happens, in that case what we do is divide p into subproblems. So I am dividing it into two problems. So what is the two problem? Low plus high divided by 2. Mid is equal to low plus high divided by 2. And solve the subproblem. So I am the problem I want to solve is an array from 1 to n. But now what I am doing is I am dividing this problem into two parts, from 1 to mid, where mid is half of the array, and mid plus 1 to high. This is the second half of the array. So solve the two different sub-arrays over here. And finally, when you get the sorted array, these two sorted array you get at that time you can merge these two arrays. So again, the array is going to be placed in a single one. So this is the first half, this is the second half. So finally we have to merge these two arrays. And how to merge? This is the lower index, this is the middle index, and this is the higher index. So while merging, what we have to take care that the first half array should be compared with the element of the second half array, and whatever the element at the second half array, they are smaller than the element of the first sub half array, they should shift towards left hand side, and the values which are larger at the left sub array should shift to the right side, and that care is taken in this particular part, that is the merge. Okay, so this whole algorithm itself is a merge sort. That means this merge sort is calling two instances of merge sort, and once these two instances are called, later on these two parts are combined together by using the algorithm merge. And this is the merge. This is the algorithm merge. In the next slide, this is the algorithm merge. Okay, so this is the merge where the parameters are low, mid and high. Okay, in a single array there is a low parameter, there is a mid parameter, and there is a high parameter. And I want to merge two subarrays. One subarray is from low to mid, and second subarray is from mid plus 1 to high. So here h is equal to low. I am taking some you can say other variables to hold the value of low and high. I is equal to low and j is equal to mid plus 1. So what I am doing here is, if this is the array, let us say if this is the array, now this is low, the lowest index, this is mid, the middle index, and this is high. So the first subarray exists between low to mid up to this. The second subarray exists between mid plus 1 to high. So this is mid plus 1 next. The index 1 next to mid is mid plus 1. So mid plus 1 to high. So what I want to do is, I want to merge the first half with the second half. So I need 3 pointers now. 3 pointers are, one is pointing at the lowest index, one is pointing at the middle plus 1 index. Okay, and h is so there will be like another array will be there, in which I am going to compare these two elements and I am going to put the values, and that is B array. This is array A and this is B. In order to hold the values for B, I am using the pointer I. Okay, so I is for B, B of I, and H and J are to point the indices at the array A. So while H is less than mid, now H is lower. Now here H is pointing here. H is equal to low. That means H is pointing at the lower index of array A, and J is pointing at the mid plus 1 index of array A. Okay, now while H is less than mid, so I want to trace this array up to the half, up to the mid, and second subarray up to the high, from mid plus 1 to high. So while H is less than mid and J is less than or equal to high, the second one, what I am comparing is A of H is less than A of J. The first element in the first subarray is less than first element in the second subarray. If it is true, I am going to put this value into the resultant array. So that is A of H. If it is not true, then I am going to put this value. That is, if this is true, I am going to put Bi is equal to A of H, H is equal to H plus 1. Otherwise, I am going to put Bi is equal to A of J. So whichever is the smallest element will come at the first position. And I is equal to I plus 1. I is equal to I plus 1 because if first element is placed in B, I should go to the next index of B. So that next element can be placed. Now this part, it may happen that in your array, in this case, let us say, consider one example. Let us say there are two subarrays. So this is the first subarray, which contains 4, 7, 5, and second subarray contains 8, 9, and these two are sorted. These two are sorted. If at all I want to merge them, in that case, so in a temporary array, so these first and middle plus one element will be compared and smaller one will come here. Second element and middle plus one element will be compared and smaller one will come here. Okay, let us say this is 5 and this is 7. So 5 will come here. Next element is 7 and it will be compared with this particular element and it will come here. And once you find that all the elements have been taken into the final subarray, remaining are the elements in the second subarray. So one condition out of these two conditions will be false. So if this condition becomes false, that is, if H becomes greater than bit, it means that go on taking all the elements from the second half. And if second condition becomes false, go on taking the elements from first half. That is, K is equal to H to mid and here J to high. Okay, and finally whatever the elements they have been taken into B, take them back to A. So that means whatever the elements they have been sorted now, copy them back to the given array, available array A. Okay, so this is how the merging works. Now here, if you will see the time complexity of merge sort, so what I am doing is I am dividing this particular problem of size n. If the problem size is n, I am dividing into two halves, that is n by 2 and n by 2. That is, I am dividing it into two sub-problems of each size, which each size is n by 2. Size of each sub-problem is n by 2. Two sub-problems, size of each problem is n by 2. And in the merge, in case of merge particular algorithm, if you will go, here I am taking n comparison. I am doing n comparison. Okay, so that is n. So it is in terms of n. So it could be some Cn. C is a constant. So what I get is, I get an equation T of n is equal to A. Now what is A? Let us say if there is only one element. This will not become true and the time required will be constant. So nothing will be executed. So for that purpose it is A. A is some constant. A can be 1. So A can be 1. So Tn is equal to A when n is equal to 1. There is only one element in the array. And it is 2 into T of n by 2 plus Cn whenever the number of element is higher than 1. So this is the time complexity, the equation to be solved. We need to solve this particular equation to get the time complexity of merge sort algorithm. So let us go ahead and let us try to solve this particular equation to get the time complexity of our algorithm. So over here, let us consider it as Tn. So Tn, I consider that initially n is greater than 1. So Tn is equal to 2t n by 2 plus Cn. If I put n is equal to n by 2 in this particular equation, I get this is equal to 2 as it is, t 2, this 2 as it is, and it becomes 2 into 2 t n by 4. So I am dividing. So if I put n is equal to n by 2, what I get is 2 t n by 4 plus Cn by 2, this whole equation, Cn by 2 plus Cn. This Cn as it is, and this is Cn. So keeping n is equal to n by 2 means C into n will become n by 2. So C into n by 2. So this equation becomes 2 into 2 is 2 raised to 2 into t of n by 2 raised to 2 plus Cn by 2 into this 2 it will become Cn, and this Cn will become 2Cn. Now if I put t is equal to n by 2 square, that is n by 4, what I get is, I get 2 raised to 2 as it is into 2t n by 4 divided by 2, so that will become 8, and 8 is 2 raised to 3 plus Cn by 4 bracket to this plus 2Cn. So this overall becomes 2 raised to 3 into t of n by 2 raised to 3 plus Cn plus 2Cn becomes, because this 4 and this 4 get cancelled, so it becomes 3Cn. If I do it for k times, if I repeat it for k times, it becomes 2k, 2 raised to k into t of n divided by 2 raised to k plus kCn. So now what I know is, I know t of 1. I know is t of 1 is constant, that is equal to a. I want to make this equation is equal to 1. I want to make this particular equation t of n by 2 raised to k is equal to 1. So what I will do is, I will substitute 2 raised to k is equal to n. I substitute 2 raised to k is equal to n. So for example 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. So I will put it, if n is 8, I will put this one is equal to 2 raised to k is equal to 8. Then if 2 raised to k is equal to n, it means that k is equal to log n. Wherever there is a k, that will be log n to the base 2. So 2 raised to k is n into t of 1, n by n will become 1 plus k will be log n. So it will be c into n into log n. So the equation becomes an plus c into n log n, where a and c are constants. If you want to find out the time complexity of this, if you want to represent it in terms of big O, then it will be big O of n log n. You can go through my video of finding out the worst case complexity, and that will be big O of n log n. In the worst case, in the best case, it will be omega of n log n. Again, you can go to my that video. In the average case, it will be theta of n log n. Again, you can go to my that particular video. In that, for any equation, I have explained for any equation, if you get this equation now, in this particular equation, which is the higher growing function, one function is a into n and another function is n into log n. So n or n into log n. So n is n into log n. So if this is a graph, at that time n will be growing linearly and n into log n will be going faster than this. So the complexity of this particular algorithm is n into log n. So the for merge sort is an algorithm wherein the complexity of merge sort is n into log n. Complexity of merge sort is n into log n. So now it is n into log n in all cases, in best case, worst case, as well as average case. And why it is this one, I am going to. So if you go to the algorithm, what we can find is there is no conditional statement, there is no if statement. So in my one of the previous lecture of while discussing the properties of the sorting techniques, so there I have discussed about some of the techniques wherein there are if conditions, and for example, you may remember that for bubble sort, in the worst case the equation I get is 5n square plus 2n plus 1, whereas in the best case I got the equation as 2n square plus 2n plus 1. Okay, if you are not understanding this, you can go to that video, you will start understanding this. Okay, so now it varies from this range to this range, but here there is no conditional statement. We are not taking any of the decision over here based on the basis of if condition, even though here it is if is there, but the number of comparisons will be less. The number of comparisons will be less here in case of merge sort. Let me show you that in a merge sort, the number of comparisons will be less. The number of comparisons will be less if we are trying to sort if already two sorted subarrays will be there. But if we are trying to sort two sorted subarrays of which one subarray contains all the elements which are lesser than the second subarray. Let us say in that case the number of comparisons required will be very less. Very less in the sense they will be required, but the comparisons will change. Okay, but there will be no much difference about that one. So that is all about the merge sort. Then this is the way how do we merge. So with the 10 elements in the first slide I have shown you that a array of size 1 to 10. Let me go back to that particular slide. So this is the slide. Let me clear all the graphics here so that you will understand it. So it is all. So here these are mergings that happen. So these are all the mergings that happen. These are the divisions that happen. 1 to 10 is divided into 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. Then 1 to 5 is divided into 1 to 3 and 4 to 5. 1 to 3 is divided into 1 to 2 and 3 to 3. 4 to 5 is divided into 4 to 4 and 5 to 5, and similarly all others are done. And this one is the reverse order. This is the merge. So merge, what we are using is merge low, mid, high. So you can see here low is 1, high is 1. What will be mid? 1 plus 2 divided by 2, 3 by 2, 1. So low, mid, high. Here low is 1, high is 3, 1 plus 3 divided by 2, high, mid. So it is taking care. It is taking care, and all these things are merged. This is a tree of calls for merge. So this is how the merge sort works. One of the modification in the merge sort is we can embed insertion sort into the merge sort. If you find, so merge sort for larger array size. Merge sort is very much good for larger array size. Okay, as compared to the binary search, sorry, not binary search, as compared to the selection sort, bubble sort, and insertion sort. But merge sort is not powerful when your array size is smaller. Merge sort will start taking more time, because if you have, let us say, 100 elements, 50 will be divided, 50 elements 25 will be divided, and 25 elements 12 13 will be divided. So most of the time is utilized in dividing the arrays. So instead of that, what we can do is we can embed this merge sort with the insertion sort. So go on dividing the array, go on dividing the problems up to some limit. Okay, what is that limit? If you get less than 16 elements, if you get less than 16 element in your subarray, apply insertion sort to that. Apply insertion sort to sort this particular subarray, and again start merging. So instead of going up to one element in an array, stop at 16, and at 16 itself apply the insertion sort. And we have seen the power of insertion sort in my last lecture. Insertion sort will take n amount of time, and we know that whatever the array is there, that could be nearly sorted. That array could be nearly sorted. For the nearly sorted array, we can use the insertion sort. Always remember, if anybody asks you a question that which is the sorting algorithms you will apply to a problem wherein I want to sort the array where the input is nearly sorted, at that time always the answer is insertion sort. Insertion sort is the best solution for sorting the array which is nearly sorted. Which is not exactly sorted, we don't know whether it is exactly sorted or not, but if we know that it is nearly sorted, insertion sort is the best solution. So this is about insertion sort and merge sort, embedding the merge sort and insertion sort. Let us move on to the another sorting technique, and that is the most powerful sorting techniques that is available today, and that is called as the quick sort. Quick sort is the fastest sorting technique. Quick sort is the fastest sorting technique. So let us discuss about the quick sort. Quick sort is another divide and conquer approach, and now here quick sort works on the basis of, in the merge sort we have discussed that a given problem is divided into multiple sub problems, and later on we find the solutions. Okay, we sort the each of the sub problem and then we merge them. Okay, quick sort takes care in such a way that merging is not required. Only you go on dividing it. Finally, after dividing all the things, the array that you get will be sorted. Okay, one thing I forgot to discuss about the merge sort is the space complexity of the merge sort. Space complexity of the merge sort, if you will see, so there is array A of size n, so that will require n amount of time. There is array B of size n, so that will require n amount of time. Then we have low, mid, high, which will require 3 locations. Then we have hij that will again require 3 locations, and in the first algorithm we have some more mid element and all, so let us consider 4 for them. So the space complexity of merge sort is 2n plus 10, let us say. In case of bubble sort it was n plus 4, in case of selection sort it was n plus 4, as well as in case of insertion sort it was n plus 4. So the space required for the merge sort is 2n. As compared to other algorithms, it requires less space. About the quick sort, it does not, the two powerful things about the quick sort is it does not require to merge the things, and it requires again n amount of space. It does not require 2n amount of space. So it is saving the time as well as it is faster. It is saving the space as well as it is saving the time. Okay, this is very much powerful. So divide and conquer approach can be used to arrive at efficient sorting method different from merge sort. So merge sort is efficient, its complexity is n log n, which is better than always n square. For bubble sort, selection sort, insertion sort in the best case, specifically insertion sort in the best case, the complexity is n square, and n log n is always better than n square. Then in quick sort, the division into 2 subarrays is made so that the sorted subarray do not need to be merged later. This is accomplished by rearranging the elements in an array from a to 1 to n such that a of I remains less than or equal to a of j for all values of I between 1 to m, and all values of j between m plus 1 to n. So again I am going to divide this array into 2 subhalves, but whatever the element that comes in this subarray are always less than the elements they are coming in this second subarray. I don't know whether they are sorted. Initially I don't know whether in this subarray whether they are sorted or not. In the second subarray they are sorted or not, but I know that all the elements in this subarray are smaller than elements in the second subarray. So I am going to make such adjustment. In a quick sort, no merging is required. The element from in array from low to m and m plus 1 to n can be independently sorted. So you can sort this one independently and you can sort this one independently later on. So this is about the basics of quick sort. Let us move ahead and let us try to understand more about the quick sort. The rearrangement of the element is accomplished by picking some element of the array A, say t, and then reordering the other elements so that all the elements appearing before the element t in the array 1 to n are less than equal to t, and all the elements towards after the element t are greater than or equal to t. For example, so let us try to understand this. So when an array is given and I want to sort this array, so this array has n number of n values, so I consider any value out of this. Randomly I will take any value out of this. So let us consider the first element and I say that it is t. Now what I do is I place this t into this array and I also make some rearrangement such that, suppose if t is placed here, so now what happens is all the elements towards left hand side of t are going to be smaller, lower than t. All the elements toward right hand side of t are larger than t. So some arrangements I am doing in this way, and t is at its appropriate position. Now you have to sort the left hand side of t separately, the right hand side of t separately to get the complete array sorted. This is how the quick sort works. Okay, and this t, wherever it is placed is called as a partition. So PRTI TATI1 partition. Okay, the rearrangement is referred to partitioning. That means that now you can apply sorting separately to the left hand side, you can apply sorting separately to the right hand side. Let us move ahead and let us try to discuss about the partitioning algorithm. I have given an array. Now here the array is given. And how does this partitioning happens? So there are three things. A is an array which requires n amount of space. M is the lower index, P is the higher index. So here within am plus 1, so I want to I want to sort an array of array from am to ap minus 1. So m is lower index. Initially lower index is equal to 0 if you are writing a C program. Higher index is equal to n minus 1 if you are writing a C program. The elements are rearranged in such a manner that if initially t is equal to a of m, t is a, I say t is a some special value. Okay, this is called as pivot value. It is a pivot value, and then after completion of this algorithm, all the elements towards left hand side of t, if t is placed here, all the elements towards left hand side of this are less than t, and all the elements towards right hand side of this are going to be greater than t. So for that purpose, let us say v is equal to am. V is a pivot, that is t. Actually it is, instead of t, it should be v. Okay, so v. So v is a pivot element. V is equal to a of m. I is equal to m. I is the lower index and j is equal to p. P is the higher index. That means that in your array, let us consider a actual practical example. Let us consider there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. So the 7 elements are 7, 4, 2 here, then 6, 5, then 1, 2, 3 here. Okay, so these are the 7 elements that I have in my array. So now 7 is considered as v is equal to 7. Then I is equal to low is the lower index is 0, and p is equal to high plus 1. P is equal to high plus 1. Okay, so p points here actually next to higher. And this partition algorithm is called by this quicksort algorithm, and in this quicksort algorithm q plus 1 is called. So that is high plus 1 is called. So hence it is high plus 1. So what do you do? Do. So this is do while loop. So do I is equal to I plus 1 while a of I is less than b. So I was here initially, but I incremented it by 1, and this is less than v. V is 7. Yes, it is less than v. Incremented by 1. 6 is less than 7. Yes, it is less than v. I am sorry. Let us consider this element. This value is 3.5. 3.5. So 3.5. 4 is less than v. Or let us keep it as 7 only. Okay. So 5 is less than 7. I is equal to I plus 1. 3 is less than 7. I is equal to I plus 1. 1 is less than 7. I is equal to I plus 1. 2 is less than 7. I is equal to I plus 1. And I go to the next location where there is an infinity location. Infinity is less than location 7. No. So I will stay here. Then do j is equal to j minus 1. J which was pointing to infinity, now it will come to here. So while a of j is greater than v. Now while a of j is greater than v. So when it is greater than v, this is not greater than v. So I will be, now if it happens that I has crossed j, at that time whatever the element that is present at j, is to be stored to the lower index, and the t is to be stored at the jth index. So exchange, so put the value of t, this is t, okay. So t is equal to a of I is here, t is equal to a of I, a of low, actually it is t is equal to a of m, t is equal to a of m, and a of m is equal to a of j, and so the actual, this one will be done here, exchanging will be done. So what happens here is 2 will come at the first position, 4, 6, 5, 3, 1, 7. What will happen is 7 is at its appropriate position. There is no element which is larger than 7, and all the elements towards left hand side of 7 are smaller than 7. So this is how the quicksort works. This is how, again next time the first element will be selected as the pivot element, the left, and it will continue with this one. Okay, so this is how the quicksort works. So this quicksort is calling that particular partition. Okay, so how does this quicksort work is, given an array, then the pivot element is selected, that is j is equal to partition ap q plus 1. Q plus 1 is, this is low and this is high. So A is the array now. A is the array. So whatever the first element is selected as a pivot element, this pivot element will be placed at the appropriate location. So that is j. Over here. And then we are calling two quicksort. Quicksort p to j minus 1, that is low to j minus 1, and quicksort j plus 1 to q, that is. But in this case, what is going to happen is there is no need to call second one, because in the second case there is nothing remaining, and that carry will be taken over here. That carry is, it is going to happen only if the array size is at least 2. It is going to happen only if array size is at least 2. So this is how the quicksort works. And the complexity of the quicksort in the best case, complexity of the quicksort in the best case is n log n. And how it is n log n, I will tell you. Let us say an array is there. Let us say an array is there, and if it happens that every time whatever the pivot element we are selecting is placed at the middle location. So first subarray is to be sorted separately, second subarray is to be sorted separately. Then in the first subarray, whatever the pivot element we are taking, it is placed at the center location. So again, it is, in that case what happens, it is just working like a merge sort, and the complexity of merge sort is n log n. Okay, but in the worst case, what happens is, if let us say the given array is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, then 1 will be selected as a pivot element, it will be placed here, and along with that n comparisons will be done. 2 will be taken, it will be placed here only, and n minus 1 comparisons will be done. 3 will be taken, it will be placed here only, n minus 2 comparisons will be done. So now total number of comparisons done are n into n minus 1 plus n minus 2, so on up to 1. That is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2, and that is n square plus n divided by 2. So the complexity of the quicksort in the worst case is n square. Complexity of the quicksort in worst case is n square, best case is n log n. So this is the all things about the complexities of bubble sort. So worst case input types is, worst case input type is decreasing order in insertion sort. For merge sort there is nothing like worst case and best case, everything is equal for merge sort. Whereas for quick sort, if you want to sort it in ascending order, and if the input is either in increasing order or decreasing order, both of them are the worst case. Best case is if you want to solve it in increasing order and it is in increasing order. Sort in increasing order, it is in increasing order. And if you want to sort this in increasing order and input is also in increasing order, these are the best case. So it is for bubble sort also, it is in the increasing order, and the complexity over here is n. Whereas for merge sort there is nothing, because there is no comparisons needed. Whereas for quick sort it is random order. Random order means whatever the input in which every pivot element is always placed at the middle of the array, that is the best case. And identifying that best case in quick sort is very much difficult. Okay, for that purpose I am saying that any random order, it should be any random order. If your array is in any random order, in that case quick sort is going to perform better as compared to the increasing order or decreasing order. So these are the complexities. Complexity of worst case is complexity of bubble sort in worst case, best case, average case is always n square. Selection sort is also n square. Insertion sort, worst case is n, best case is n, average case is n square. Okay, this is the only algorithm whose complexity is n in best case. Okay, if somebody asks, again I will tell you, if somebody asks you that which is the sorting technique that we should use whenever the given array to be sorted is nearly sorted, always the answer is insertion sort. And what is the quick sort complexity in the worst case is n square, and in best case and average case it is n log n, whereas for the merge sort it is always n log n. So these are the complexities of all the 5 algorithms. Then there are some performance measurements of quick sort and merge sort. So merge sort for 1000 elements, this is taken over on random machine, and it is very old data. So on that data, for data size of 1000, time taken was 72.8 microsecond. So these are in milliseconds, I think, or microsecond. So yes, they are in all microseconds, and the time taken by quick sort for the same problem is 36.6. So nearly half. Why nearly half it is time taking? Because quick sort does not require merging, and most of the time of merge sort is utilized in merging multiple arrays. So you can see here. So quick sort takes nearly half time, as compared to the merge sort. Okay, so sometimes 75% of the time. So quicksort is better than merge sort, even though the complexity of merge sort is also n log n, and in the best case complexity of quicksort is also n log n. This quicksort is taking less amount of time. Other facts about merge sort and quicksort is, so these are the worst case complexities, previous are the average case complexities. In the worst case, you can see here, it is taking nearly 40% of the time which is taken by merge sort. Only it is 40%, nearly 40%. So 40 to 45% amount of the time. So it is working far better. So quicksort is always faster than merge sort. So as I told you that whenever the given array is sorted, it becomes the worst case. How to overcome that is, you can design a R quicksort algorithm. Now this is called as random quicksort algorithm. In random quicksort algorithm, what do we do is, whatever the pivot element we were selecting, that pivot element we will select randomly. Select the pivot element, any as a pivot element from the array, and move that one into the first location and try to place it into the array. So this is R quicksort. So the improvement on quicksort can be done by using R quicksort, and these are the comparisons of quicksort and R quicksort. So quicksort for 100 values take 195.5 microsecond, and this take R quicksort version takes only 9.4 microseconds. So these are comparison of R quicksort and quicksort on input AFI. So these are the different values. So that's up about the 5 algorithms. I need to make another video on heap sort, and for the heap sort we need to understand the binary search trees properly. So constructing the heap properly. So directly we cannot discuss the heap sort, but I'll come up with another video on heap sort maybe tomorrow. In my next video lecture will be on heap sort. So thank you for listening to the lecture, and I hope you have understood. If you have any doubt, since this video has gone a bit longer, so stay connected to this. And if you want to make me some other video on any topic which is related to data structure or programming, so you are always welcome to put your comments onto the comment section. Whatever you want me to do, so you put that particular algorithm into the comment section. I will make a video on that. So thanks for listening, and happy learning.